A Russian court rejected US journalist Evan Gershkovich's appeal against pre-trial detention on Thursday. The American reporter faces trial on alleged charges of espionage. In March, Gershkovich was arrested by Russian officials. He was accused of illegally possessing Russian military documents. A Russian diplomat is squatting on land that was earlier assigned for a new Russian embassy in Australia's Canberra. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that the squatting Russian diplomat was not a security concern. Earlier this month, Australia passed a law that prevents Russia from moving its embassy in Canberra to a new location. That's because the new site would have been close to the Australian Parliament. US President Joe Biden and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met at the White House on Thursday. They hailed the relationship of the two countries. They called it a new era of ties between India and the US. This comes as the Biden administration signed deals with India for semiconductors, technology, space, and defense cooperation. India's Prime Minister Modi attended the White House dinner later on Thursday. He was welcomed by President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. The White House rolled out the red carpet for the Indian Prime Minister. Dozens of leaders from politics, technology, sports, and the fashion industry also attended the White House dinner. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol met his Vietnamese counterpart on Friday. The duo signed 17 agreements related to economic and military cooperation. The South Korean president is visiting Vietnam amid growing tensions with North Korea. Vietnam is one of the few countries which has close relations with North Korea. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed Chinese Premier Li Qiang in Paris on Thursday. China's Li is participating in the new Global Financing Summit in Paris. Earlier, Li met his French counterpart Elizabeth Borne. The European Union's top diplomat has called for fresh mayor elections in northern Kosovo. This comes after separate talks held by the EU between Serbian and Kosovo leaders failed on Thursday. Remember, violence erupted in May when Kosovo installed ethnic Albanian mayors in its northern regions. The northern regions are mainly inhabited by ethnic Serbs. Meanwhile, NATO has deployed over 4,000 troops as peacekeepers in northern Kosovo. Greece's opposition leader Alex Tsipras held a massive pre-election rally in the capital city of Athens. This comes as Greece will vote in its runoff elections on Sunday. Current Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis will face off against Tsipras. Tsipras has questioned the incumbent government for the migrant shipwreck off the coast of Greece. On the 14th of June, over 100 migrants were killed as their ship collapsed in Greek waters. Cambodia has approved a law that mandates its citizens to vote. Under this law, citizens who boycott voting will be removed from the voter list and banned from voting for life. Cambodia will have its parliamentary elections in July. The Cambodian People's Party will run unopposed in the elections. That's because the sole opposition, which is the Candlelight Party, has been banned from competing in the upcoming elections. Egypt has tightened entry restrictions for people fleeing the war in Sudan. This has led to the separation of families who are now split across the border. Previously, only men needed visas to enter Egypt. Now, even women and children who are fleeing the war in Sudan have to apply for visas. Since fighting first began in Sudan, over 250,000 civilians have crossed into Egypt. Saudi Arabian Houthi officials exchanged bodies of fighters in Yemen. This was part of the recent peace deal which was signed in April. At least 64 deceased fighters were returned to their respective militaries. This is the latest sign of progress in Saudi Houthi talks to end the 8-year conflict. Kenya is looking to table an anti-gay bill in its parliament. LGBTQ Kenyans are saying they are worried about their future in their home country. Kenya's anti-LGBT bill has been created on the lines of Uganda's anti-gay law. In May, Uganda imposed harsh anti-LGBT laws in the country, which include death penalty. They are considered some of the world's toughest anti-gay laws. Over 200 migrants were rescued near Spain's Canary Islands on Thursday. Spanish Coast Guard intercepted the migrant boat and brought it to safety. This is the fourth boat to be rescued near the Spanish islands in the last 24 hours. On Wednesday, at least 30 migrants were killed after an inflatable boat capsized on the same route. The US Coast Guard has found the wreckage of the submarine which was exploring the Titanic. All 5 passengers on board the submersible explorer were declared dead. Meanwhile, scientists have urged to halt any future trips to explore the sunken Titanic. In climate, a severe hailstorm ripped through an amphitheater in Morrisontown in the US state of Colorado. At least 90 people were injured from the hail. Some even received fractures and lacerations from the unexpected hailstorms. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that his country has fulfilled its promise under the Paris Climate Agreement. This was at a press conference in the White House. PM Modi also said India was the only G20 country to fulfill its share of promises made at the Paris Climate Summit. In 2015, the Paris Climate Agreement was signed by 200 countries. The signatories agreed to control their emissions to keep global temperatures from rising another 2 degrees Celsius. World leaders met at the new Global Financing Pact summit in Paris. They discussed the need for reforms that are needed to tackle climate change. These reforms also include a new funding model for countries hit with the climate crisis. The summit was led by French President Emmanuel Macron. Meanwhile, the World Bank's president Ajay Banga also attended the Paris Finance Summit. The institution has announced that loans given to developing countries would be paused if the countries are hit by climate-related crisis. However, this clause will only be applied to new loans. Climate activists staged a protest in Paris on Friday. The protest erupted on the second day of the new Global Financing Pact summit. They deployed giant dollar signs in central Paris while chanting "Make polluters pay." The demonstrators demanded the government to stop financing the fossil fuel industry. According to a new research, global rice production will fall short by over 8 million tons this year. This is the largest dip in rice cultivation in the last 2 decades. The study says that global warming and climate crisis are the leading reason for the low yield. In many places, torrential rain has destroyed paddy fields. Meanwhile, in some countries, drought has made it difficult to grow the water-intensive crop. In business, the Australian unit of PricewaterhouseCoopers is seeking to sell some of its operations. The unit is looking to sell its government, education and healthcare business. Private equity investor Allegro Funds is in discussions with the firm to buy them. PwC Australia has been embroiled in a scandal for allegedly leaking confidential government tax documents to its corporate clients. Accounting firm Deloitte has quit as the auditor to Indian edtech firm Byju. The auditing firm's move comes after Byju allegedly failed to hand over any financial statements. This is for the financial period 2021 to 2022. The 12-month audit has been long delayed. Japan's Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group is planning to sue stablecoins. A stablecoin is a type of a cryptocurrency, an alternative to the popular Bitcoin. MUFG is in talks with some of the companies that back these crypto assets. In June, Japan became one of the major economies to introduce a stablecoin law. As per the law, only the nation's licensed banks, registered money transfer agents, and trust companies can issue these virtual coins. US computer chip firm Micron Technology will build a new factory in India. It will be constructed in India's western state of Gujarat. Micron will put in more than $800 million for the project. It will also attract investments from India's central government and Gujarat's local government. Nearly $3 billion will be invested in building the facility. American multinational firm 3M has reached a tentative settlement with several American cities. It will pay $10 billion as part of the settlement. This comes over several lawsuits accusing the company of water pollution. 3M had been accused of making products with harmful chemicals that polluted soil and groundwater. German plastics and chemicals maker Covestro has rejected an initial takeover bid from Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Reports say Covestro dismissed the proposal because the offer was too low. Earlier this week, ADNOC proposed to buy the German firm for about $11 billion. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India will join the Artemis Accords. This was during his state visit to the US. It is a NASA-led initiative to work together with other countries on space exploration. The program also ensures that member and countries extract and utilize space resources for sustainable exploration. The agreement was first kicked off in the year October 2020. Social media firm TikTok's long-standing chief operating officer V. Papas has resigned. He stepped down after a 5-year stint with the company. Meanwhile, TikTok has also announced that it has hired Xenia Mucha as its chief brand and communications officer. Previously, Mucha was with Walt Disney, where she worked for 20 years. Social media giant Meta will end access to news for all Canadian users. This is over its Facebook and Instagram platforms. The access will be revoked after Canada's Parliament approves the Online News Act. This act will require internet giants to pay news publishers for using their content. Meanwhile, Malaysian authorities have said that they'll take legal action against the Facebook parent. This is for failing to remove harmful content on the social media platform. Malaysia's communications regulator said there has been a significant rise in harmful content on Facebook. These were related to race, religion, defamation, and scam advertisements. And now on to sports. In football, Manchester City are set to join Arsenal and Manchester United in a potential bidding war for West Ham skipper Declan Rice. Even though their previous offers for Rice have been rejected, Arsenal are still pursuing the player. Manchester United has also had discussions about the likelihood of a trade. City's Pep Guardiola had described Rice as a quote-unquote exceptional player last month. Chelsea are preparing to make a formal approach for Brighton midfielder Moses Caicedo. The 21-year-old was the subject of 2 bids from Arsenal in January before signing a new deal with the Seagulls. Meanwhile, Chelsea have already agreed a $31 million deal to sell Mateo Kovacic to Manchester City as the clear-out at Stamford Bridge begins. In cricket, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, invited applications for the men's national team selector post. The post of the chief selector is vacant since Chetan Sharma's removal in February 2023. The BCCI also revealed the criteria and responsibilities of the interested candidates. Meanwhile, the process to announce a squad for India's multi-format tour to West Indies begins on the 12th of July. US player Kyle Phillips has been suspended from bowling in international cricket with immediate effect. The decision comes after the ICC's event panel confirmed that the 26-year-old fast bowler uses an illegal bowling action. Phillips was reported following his side's ICC Men's Cricket World Qualifier match against West Indies on Sunday. In tennis, top seed Carlos Alcaraz has powered into the Queen's Club Championships quarterfinals on Thursday. He did so with a dominant straight sets win over Czech Jiří Lehecka. The Spanish world number 2 eased to a 6-2, 6-3 victory. He will next face either an Argentine or a Bulgarian player. Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov has booked a spot in the Queen's Club Championships quarterfinal. The 2014 champion served 3 times throughout the match en route to a 6-3, 7-5 win. He is currently ranked 26th in the world. Dimitrov next meets top seed Carlos Alcaraz following the Spaniard's dominant 6-2, 6-3 victory over a Czech rival. The FIA is considering imposing more restrictions on pre-race grid access in Formula 1. The step is being considered after safety concerns were raised following this month's Spanish Grand Prix. Guests, including Brazilian footballer Neymar, were seen blending in with the team's crew on the edge of the track in Spain. They did so at the start of the formation lap. The Afghan team's status for the next year's Paris Olympics has been put in question by the International Olympic Committee. The development comes amid growing frustration with the Taliban blocking access to sports for women and girls. The IOC said it continues to be extremely concerned about the sports situation in Afghanistan despite its repeated calls for action. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has announced that Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva's doping case will be held from the 26th of September to the 29th of September. Valieva tested positive for the banned substance trimetazine at the Russian National Championships in December 2021. Astoundingly, the result was only made known on Feb 8, 2022. That's a day after she helped her team win gold at the Beijing Olympics. John Fendley, also known as Fenners, has exited popular broadcaster Sky Sports on Thursday. The news comes a week after several high-profile exits amid widespread job cuts, with commentator Martin Tyler also leaving. The 53-year-old presenter announced his departure with a heartfelt social media post. Fendley said, "Some of the crowd are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. Full time for me. Thanks to Sky Sports for some amazing memories." Moving to entertainment, singers Billie Eilish, Lenny Kravitz and Her performed on the sidelines of the Summit for a New Global Financial Pact in Paris. The Power Our Planet, live in Paris show was aimed to convince world leaders to take further action against climate change. The concert was organized by the non-profit group Global Citizen. The lineup for the annual Macy's 4th of July fireworks show is out. Singers Ashanti, BB Rexa, Ja Rule, and LL Cool J are set to perform at the ceremony. The 47th edition of the show will take place in New York's Manhattan. It will be aired live on television network NBC. The 2023 Kennedy Center Honors have awarded several Hollywood artists. Comedian and actor Billy Crystal, rapper Queen Latifah, and singer Dionne Warwick are among the inductees this year. The ceremony will be hosted by singer Gloria Estefan. Moreover, this year's gala will also include a 50th anniversary tribute to hip-hop music. The 46th edition of the annual event will take place in December in Washington, D.C. The name of the city of Minneapolis in the US has temporarily been changed to Swiftie-Apolis. The mayor, Jacob Frey, unofficially made the change to recognize the singer and her fans who are called Swifties. The sold-out shows are scheduled for today and tomorrow. K-pop band 17's Vernon has been named French fashion brand Kenzo's first global brand ambassador. He will be part of Kenzo's advertising campaigns across apparel and sneakers. Vernon will debut in his new role at the brand's Spring-Summer 2024 show at the ongoing Paris Men's Fashion Week today. Beatles singer Paul McCartney has responded to the alleged use of artificial intelligence in recreating a new song. It was reported that a Beatles song was created from a late 70s John Lennon demo with the help of AI. McCartney says that nothing has been artificially or synthetically created. Singer K. Shah and music producer Dr. Luke have settled a long-drawn defamation case out of court. The case dates back to the year 2014. K. Shah had alleged that Dr. Luke had drugged and assaulted her in 2005. She said that she cannot recount everything that happened, but is looking forward to closing the doors on this chapter of her life. Meanwhile, Dr. Luke has maintained his innocence. Titanic director James Cameron has spoken about the missing Titanic submersible. He says that the diving community raised concerns about the sub. Cameron added that he was struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself. He has made 33 trips to the sunken ship's wreckage as a long-time member of the diving community. Actor Dermot Mulroney, is the latest celebrity to show support for the Writers Guild of America strike. He staged a walkout during a segment of television chat show The View to support the striking writers. Mulroney said that he felt comfortable to draw attention to the strike on The View as it is a news show with a heart. And finally, the lineup for the 41st Outfest Los Angeles LGBTQ+ festival is out. Over 170 films, documentaries and narratives from 25 countries will be showcased at the festival. Actors Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcon will be awarded in recognition of their allyship with the LGBTQ+ community. The festival will take place from the 13th to the 23rd of July in Los Angeles and the West Hollywood area.
This is been called Prime Minister Modi's most substantial visit.
Many advances in AI, even more momentous development in another AI, America and India.
The vibe and symbolism are hard to miss, but this visit promises to deliver more than optics.
And India and the United States work and lead together, and we are.
What did it achieve? What does it mean for the India-US relationship and the changing world order? Catch all the updates and analysis with me, Palki Sharma, only on Firstpost.